Guys, good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to our crew around the world, to all of those of you that support and listen to the podcast. I'm stoked to have you here and having your company this afternoon, this morning, or this evening, whatever it is for you. So if you're coming into this one live, get into those comments and I want you to hashtag live into the comments. If you are here and watching on replay, please hashtag into the comments replay. It's just like so cool knowing we've got guys and girls all around the world coming in, supporting the podcast, getting their little bit of juice for the morning, afternoon, or evening, and then getting stuck into a big day. So looking forward to this one, guys. We're going to get started on this episode in 1.5 minutes. I am pumped. I'm excited about this episode. I think this is going to be a cracker and maybe a little bit different to the kind of ones that we've been doing recently around kind of fitness and the like. All right, so let's go. Who have we got in here? Maddie Harvey. Dude, I hope you had a beautiful holiday. It looked like you guys were having so much fun and spending some real quality time together. JC boy, how are you, mate? Hope the injury is recovering okay, my friend. Terry's in here. Look at Tezza, always in here, the big dog. How are you, mate? Jen Lovegrove, lovely to have your company here on a beautiful, what is it, Tuesday evening? I've lost track of the days. Yeah, Tuesday evening. It's weird when we have a public holiday at the start, right? Hello, Kenny. Good morning, mate. I hope you're well. Nico, what is going on, buddy? Lovely to have your company, Nico. I am so proud of you and your delightful missus, mate. You are an absolute stallion. Who else is here? Joe, how are you, mate? Lovely to have your company. I know it's been a bumpy couple of weeks, Joe, but you're here and you're showing up. Morning. Don't know who you are. Love you. Guys, we're getting started in 30 seconds. Chriso, what's going on, big dog? Hope you're good, mate. Lisa's in here as well. Hello, Lise. Good morning. You're becoming very consistent, Lise. M. Drew, speak of the devil of consistency. Look at this woman go. I think we are all about ready to rock, guys, with about 15 people coming in and watching live. Oh, we got a late bloomer. Hello, Meals. How are you, girlfriend? I hope you're good. Joining us nice and late on a UK night. I think we're ready to rock and roll, guys. So let's get started on this episode in the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast. This is the podcast that you come to when you are sick of the dumb diets, unsustainable workout programs. Now, in today's episode, we're going to be having a chat about success. I don't protest to be the most successful man on the planet. I'm coming at this from a piece of opinion. And what I want to do is have a chat about this, have a discussion about this, because I think that in a lot of circles, what happens is success is not talked about. And the reason it's not talked about, particularly amongst Australians, right? And the reason is because no one wants to appear successful in front of their friends. Do you know what I mean? It's like that Aussie, what do we call it? Tall poppy syndrome. We don't want to make out like we're proud of our efforts, proud of our results, because that might make us seem like we're egotistical or whatever the kind of, issues that go with that actually are. I want to have an open discussion about success because I think that in a modern day, success can take many forms, and I want to get the juices flowing around this conversation. So if any of you feel like adding to the chat in the comments, please do so. So I want to go through a number of truths that have been my discoveries around my own personal success, and maybe just kind of share them with you, because when you are deep in the grind of trying to kind of create whatever is success for you, sometimes it's really hard and sometimes you just get lost. And when you get lost, it feels difficult to keep pushing through, right? And then every now and then we have a moment where we feel like we hit the mark or we feel really successful, and that moment seems to last a very short period of time before we just go back to doing what we always do again. Life is fucking short. And I think it's a good idea to, really have thought about what success looks like for you, so that you're defining it in a way that you want to define, not in a way that other people want you to live by. Does this make sense? All right, so first truth of success is probably the most important one in terms of acquiring success. And that is that success ain't sexy. It is not sexy. What you see is the sexy outcomes, right? You might see the cars or the money or the Instagram photos or the holidays. And they might be markers of success. They might be a facade. But what you don't see is the grinding hours. You don't see the truth of, for example, weight loss success, which involves tracking your nutrition. Boring, not sexy. Which involves getting up when you already get up at 5:30 or 5 o'clock to go to work. So you have to get up at 4 o'clock to get a gym session in because then you want to deal with your kids after school, after work. Success is not sexy. Success is taking your check-in photos on a weekend and not loving them. Success is being accountable. And for me, I think it helps to understand that success isn't sexy. And actually, I would go as far as to say success is boring. Success is more often, at least in my personal experience, a result of doing the boring things more. In fact, really success is almost like this battle of who can win the boredom game. I'll give you an example of this. So I was talking to one of my clients this morning, and she was coming across from a 28-day challenge. And she said, in the challenge, we did hype daily, hype excitement. You can't live like that every single day of the year. We have our ebbs and it wouldn't be sustainable. At a certain point, to be successful, you've got to be consistent and not as intense, okay? Consistency matters far more than intensity. The problem is that the word consistency is almost synonymous with boring. Showing up at the same time is boring. Doing the same things is boring. And it's almost like a Hunger Games of who can last in the boring things the longest that sees the results. Does this make sense? And does anyone watching really resonate with what I'm talking about here? Maybe they found success in a certain element of their life and they know that it was literally a consequence of their ability to do the boring things repeatedly. Number 2, success should be contextual. What I mean by this is you can't really compare your success to another person's success without it running through a frame of what you consider important, number 1, and number 2, without understanding all of their life. And so what we typically do is we compare upon one point of success. I'll give you an example. Imagine that you were, comparing success financially, and you asked your mate to open his wallet and ask him how many $20 bills he's got. And he pulls out 7 $20 bills and you've got 1. On that limited definition, he's more successful than you, right? Because the metric that you were comparing was $20 bills. What you didn't take into account is that you've got nothing in your bank account and he's got $5 million worth of assets locked up in long-term investments. I mean, it sounds like a stupid example, but I think that's what we do. We see another person on social media, we see another person driving the car, and we look at it very one-dimensionally without understanding that there is more to that game. And so for this reason, I always tell people that you need to create your own definition of success. I'm going to get real with you guys here, okay? We booked another, I call it a working holiday. So tomorrow we're flying down to Mexico. In a previous podcast, I talked to you guys about the gentleman that passed away a couple of weeks ago in my coaching program, and it's still hanging around and hitting me about the fragility of life. So for me, success is not the ability to amount lots of money. Success is, for me, the ability to realize your own mortality before you die and to have the best fucking experience you can while you're on earth. Which is why fitness and health plays a massive role for me, because if I don't have fitness and health, I don't have my freedom to do what I want in the world. Therefore, I'm selling myself short. So it's all contextual. For you, that story might just might not be important. And so I think it's important that with your romantic partner or whoever it is that you experience your successes with, the team at work, or whatever it is that you define what success is for you and for that team. Okay, next one. Success is an outcome, and you shouldn't emotionally attach to outcomes. What do I mean by this? A lot of people, what they do is they drop down 5 kilos on the scales, and they're like, wow, I lost 5 kilos. How good is this? Oh, I'm top of the world. And then the next week, they jump on the scales and there's no change. Or maybe you're a woman and it's that time of the month and you've actually put on a kilo because of the water retention. Or maybe you're that guy who's had a tough day or a tough week rather at work. You've been working long hours, you haven't been able to get to your meals and to your gym sessions, so actually your weight has not changed. And if you get to this point of success being like a roller coaster, where you really attach to the highs but get super dejected by the lows, you can even, if you're watching live, you can see where my hands are apart. One's high in the air, the other one's down low, because that represents the polarity of how you're going to feel. Does this make sense? So it's really, really important that although you define what the success is to you, you work on your emotional intelligence and not become so roller coasted in the ups and downs. Celebrate the wins, but not too much. When you fail, heed the lessons, but don't over-consume them. You want to stay as much as you can in some level of like equilibrium. More good is coming. More good is coming. Be optimistic, but don't be like this. There's 20 people watching live. Who knows themselves to be a roller coaster of like ups and downs? And if we get no people commenting on that question, I'm going to call the people out. Amelia, Chris Lewis, right? This isn't a criticism, by the way. It's not a criticism at all. It's an area to work on. And by the way, that wasn't a limited list. It's something we're all working on. Like, oh me, Amelia says. Yep. This isn't a criticism. This is a realization that, you know what, like sometimes it's going to be good, sometimes it's going to be bad. Let me focus on the process. And so, next one. Success is usually a product of doing what you don't want to do, not what you want to do. For me, success is being able to pay less attention to how you're feeling, right? Now, look, I'm aware that, there's going to be a few spiritual people out there that are going to say, oh, you should only do what you feel like. Like, I consider myself a pretty spiritual guy, actually. Not religious, spiritual. In other words, I believe in something more than myself being existent. But I'm also a realist. And I don't just think you can wish your way to wherever you want to get to. You actually have to do the work. And so it frustrates me when people say, I just didn't do it because I just didn't feel it. Now, on a one-off basis, that's not a problem. On a two-off basis, that's not a problem. But if you only act according to how you feel, you can be sure as hell you're not going to be anywhere. Success is more often a product of doing what you don't feel like. And the reason you don't feel like it is because it's out of your comfort zone. That makes complete logical sense, right? So if you get in the habit of pressing up against the comfort zone and doing what you don't feel like, and you start to become someone who does what they don't feel like, that thing that you don't feel like actually becomes inside of your comfort zone, and then you start feeling like it. Anyone that's become addicted to the gym knows exactly what I am talking about. Nico says, as always, we say sometimes, just do it. Yeah, that's a really good, because a lot of people get too caught in thought. Oh, how's this going to make me feel? Trying to assign meaning? Just fucking do it. Focus on the next thing. Okay, next one. Success is about application, not information. And this is a big thing because I suffered this. What I didn't realize is my consumption of books and podcasts and YouTube videos was mostly to distract me from doing the implementation work that I had to do. As an example, you can watch 1,000 videos on meditation. You can watch 1,000 videos on tracking your nutrition or doing the perfect squat. But unless you go and actually do it, nothing changes. Reading about doing it, listening about doing it, thinking about doing it does nothing. It actually just creates more head noise. So the takeaway point is the implementation is the thing that moves the needle, not the thinking about it. For those of you that are in Better Body Academy, you have literally a coach's brain contextualized in 8 workshops inside of your app to understand. That's all you need to know to get yourself in incredible shape. Watch it, do it. Like, it sounds easy, but this is the path. Next up, success compounds quickly and easily shrinks. I'm going to take you through this. When we get into action, what happens is it creates momentum. And when we create momentum, it creates motivation. And when we create motivation, we create more success. More success creates more action, creates more motivation, creates more momentum, creates more success. The moment you stop moving forward, and I don't mean that you can't take a break, I mean that you stop moving forward mentally, you stay stuck for too long. What's the opposite of momentum? Stalling? Stalling creates not motivation, but creates a lack of confidence. A lack of confidence creates less success. Less success creates more procrastination. And so it works both ways. So I always say, it doesn't matter how quickly you're going, it's the direction that matters. Does this make sense, guys? I've got 3 more. Success comes at a cost. There will be trade-offs in every bit of success that you make. I'll give you 3 examples. If you're after the successful outcome of managing your weight, at times the trade-off is going to be less calories, less taste. You take all of the sugar and all of the fat out of something to reduce the calories, you also decrease the taste. And so the success there comes as a payoff. Nico, our chef, resident chef, will tell you that the 3 ways that you flavor food are sugar, fat, and salt. Predominantly. There are others, but predominantly. And so when you take those things out, there's a payoff. There's another payoff. This is one that we all engage in, both as parents and people who care for their career. The payoff for working more is sleeping less. So there's often a balance that you've got to find. I'll give you one more. When we're trying to train to change our body, the cost of that is that we're going to be in pain sometimes. We're going to feel DOMS. We're going to feel the friction of transformation. So we always have to understand that there will be a payoff. There is a cost to be paid. That doesn't mean that you should be walking around not able to actually sit down on the toilet at all because you're so sore. That could be an ineffective way to train that you're applying. But there is going to be some level. The likelihood is, if you're trying to lose weight and you're trying to achieve a calorie deficit, there are going to be moments in your day where you feel a little bit hungry. That's because your body's running out of petrol and burning fat instead. This is a payoff. Does this make sense, guys? Okay, 2 more to finish off. Success will never make you happy unless it is aligned to your core values in life. Until it's aligned to your core values in life. So what I mean by this is, if you are one of these people who honestly, like when you just look in yourself and you see your bank account and all of a sudden you see your money going up, but you're just like, it just doesn't really motivate you that much. Well, having more of it's not going to motivate you and inspire you anymore. So if the metric for success for you is money, then you're probably chasing a losing battle to keep making more money. I'm not saying money is bad at all. I'm saying that you maybe need to come up with another metric. So for me, I remember when I was in a job and just hating life, right? And my metric was not to become a coach so that I could make lots of money. My metric was, I have more to give the world and I'm not doing it. You know, the reality is I would continue to do what I could do for free as long as I could cover my bases and have a good life. Because I get so much passion out of doing what I do. And so when you manage to find that thing in either work or life, my God, that's what creates the happiness. The freedom to do what you want and choose is what creates the happiness. How else do you explain people like, you know, Donald Trump or Tony Robbins or Oprah Winfrey, these type characters who well into their kind of, you know, their 70s still are hunting? That can only be an indication that success doesn't necessarily mean or the equivalent of happiness. And the final thing that I want to bring up is that successful people, they show up regardless of the externals. What I mean by this is successful people, they don't want to break word with themselves. Their integrity in their own word is of the highest. It's of the highest because they know that the moment they stop lying to themselves, start lying to themselves, when they break trust with themselves, it sets the tone of which the rest of the world trusts them. So they continue to show up despite how tired they are, despite how defeated they are. I mean, there's just some days where I can hardly scrape myself out of bed. Today's not one of them. But some days can really it's just a struggle. It's a struggle. People think, oh, you like fitness coaches just jump it. That's not how it works. But if I have to wake up in 2 hours' time because I slept through my alarm and I slept on my goals, the things that I want to achieve, other people might not even notice that, but I do. I notice that. And it stops my momentum and I don't want to have, this is not a negotiable for me. And so I might just quick succession, just recap these and maybe get you to comment. There's 20 people watching live. Just comment the one that hits you the most. Success is not sexy. It is boring and repetitious. Success is contextual and only should be viewed in its importance to you. Success is an outcome that you shouldn't emotionally attach to. Success is the byproduct of doing what you don't feel like. Success is about application, not accumulating more information. Success compounds easily, but shrinks quickly. Success comes at a cost. There's always going to be trade-offs. Success won't make you happy unless it's aligned to your core values. And successful people are those that show up every day to best that they can because they don't want to break word with themselves. Hopefully you've taken something out of this, guys, even if it is just one little nugget that you can apply for the rest of the week. And then the rest of the week becomes the rest of the month, becomes the rest of the month, becomes the rest of the years. Lisa says success is an outcome, not to attach emotions to it. Yep, I love it, Lisa. Okay, guys, I'm going to finish it up there. Hopefully this has been helpful for this morning, this afternoon, or this evening. This has been the Better Body Academy podcast, coming to you on a beautiful sunny Tuesday in Vancouver, Canada. I'll see you guys in the next episode.